King Buyelekhaya Dalindyebo. The king was sentenced to 12 years in prison after he was found guilty of arson, assault, kidnapping and culpable homicide. Was expected to report to the Mthatha Maximum Correctional Centre by midnight tomorrow in order to begin his sentence. Our reporter Patricia Visagie is attending the briefing in Pretoria and now joins us live from there. Patricia, good afternoon to you. Please give us the background of what's expected from the minister's announcement today.
Good afternoon, Alicia, and of course, good afternoon to our viewers. Now, Alicia, of course, you would know it is festive. A lot of South Africans are enjoying this time of the year. Of course, a different scenario for the AbaThembu King Buyelekhaya Dalindyebo, as his future hangs in the balance and he is uncertain as to how he's going to enter 2016. Is he going to get what he has requested the minister to do? Are we going to see him getting what he's ultimately asking, and that is after he requested that he be retrialed for, of course, the crimes that he has been convicted for. This on the backdrop of that petition that was issued by the lawyers that are representing him, asking the minister to see it good to perhaps reopen his criminal case and see if they can take the matter forward on that way. And this all in a bit of the king, of course, avoiding jail time. You would know that he has been handed down a 12-year jail sentence, and as you have already mentioned, he was supposed to already have started that sentence, but of course his bail was extended. He was afforded the opportunity to spend Christmas at time, but it is now D-Day, and everybody is really waiting with bated breath to see and to hear what the minister is going to say. Is the minister going to grant the royal what he is requesting, to have a retrial, or is he rather going to reject that request? And do we have to see him a reporter to the Wellington prison in Mthatha tomorrow? But that, of course, we will hear in a couple of minutes. The briefing is delayed a little bit. It was supposed to start at exactly 2 o'clock, but it seems like the minister is about 20 minutes or half an hour late. So we'll probably start around 2:30, or maybe on top of the hour at around 3 o'clock, and hear exactly what is the future, what holds the future for the royal. Of course, he has seen support coming from Contra Lesser, who said that they feel that the king should not be jailed. He should be forgiven. Some have even suggested, including his lawyers, that maybe the next step would be to ask for a presidential pardon, as they believe that the crimes that he was convicted for during the late 90s, he committed under the political banner, and it was during an unstable period in the country. So they feel that he should, be given a presidential pardon, or rather, as he has petitioned for a reopening of his trial. But we're all waiting to see what exactly the minister will be addressing the media with later today, in about half an hour or an hour, as I have mentioned.
Look, Patricia, before I let you go there, look, let's speculate a little bit. I mean, if this petition is not successful, what then happens? Do we expect the king then to report to the jail?
Well, that's what we expect to happen, because he has basically exhausted all his legal avenues. You know that this matter has even gone to the Constitutional Court, and there he was unsuccessful. So now, hence the petition, and we are now awaiting the outcome of that particular petition. But the other alternative, as I have mentioned, is a presidential pardon, and to see whether that will be the next step, whether his lawyers will pursue that avenue. That we still have to see, whether they will pursue that full force, and what President Jacob Zuma will make of it if it does get to that point where they approach the presidency, they approach President Jacob Zuma and take the matter to him and see what are the other avenues within the framework of a presidential pardon. So that is more or less the only option left for him. If that doesn't work, that will mean he'll have to face the music and serve his 12-year jail term.
But I mean, Patricia, there was a big issue around the fact that the king can only possibly be granted a new trial if specifically there was new evidence that was going to be submitted. What can you tell us around that?
Well, the new evidence is not really tangible evidence, you know. It's more them playing on the fact that the crimes that he committed, or rather that he instructed to be committed at the time, the instructions rather that he issued were under a political reign. And just like you know, in the previous years in our country, there are a lot of people who committed similar crimes, they are arguing, and they were pardoned, they were granted full amnesty. So I think that is more or less the argument that his lawyers are giving forward, that the same pardon, the same amnesty that was granted to other individuals in South Africa who committed crimes during apartheid and just right after apartheid, you know, the same treatment that they were given, they feel that the king should be afforded that same opportunity. So it is really a very sensitive, a very contentious issue, but ultimately it all, like I said, it is now in the hands of Minister of Correctional Services and Justice, Advocate Michael Masutha, and perhaps the other alternative, if they do decide to go that route, would be a presidential pardon. But that is also another, it won't be an easy one. There's a lot of factors that will have to be considered before that even gets to that point. But we'll have to wait and see. And really, I think everybody is waiting with bated breath to see what lies, you know, what does the future hold for the king.
Absolutely, Patricia. I mean, do you know if the king will be in attendance? I mean, he's always rolling around with a big delegation. Is he there?
No, he's not here. No sign of him at all. And of course, we didn't expect him to be here. I think it's perhaps more important for him right now to be with his family. And you know, if things does not go the way he's hoping, the way you know, some members of the AbaThembu monarch are wishing that he be granted a reopening of a trial, or rather getting the presidential pardon as he's requesting. You know, I think for him right now, the priority is to spend the remaining days of his freedom with his family, you know, with the people that are close to him. So he is not here. We haven't seen any sign of him, and we, like I said, we didn't expect him to be here today.
All right, and Patricia, who's in attendance there by the minister's announcement? What can we expect?
Well, there's not a lot of people right now. The minister himself has not arrived. The people that are here, a couple of people from the minister's office themselves who are here to make sure that everything is in order before the minister's arrival. Of course, a lot of journalists are here. This is a very interesting case. It has, over the months, drawn a lot of public interest. So you would imagine a lot of journalists are here, regardless of the fact that it is festive and perhaps, you know, they could be relaxing somewhere, but they're here, and that tells you that this case has garnered and has drawn a lot of public interest. It is a very contentious issue, and everybody wants to see in which direction is it ultimately going to go. How is the end going to be for the AbaThembu King eventually?
Patricia, look, is the NPA any part of this? And if so, how are they involved? Do they now wait for the Justice Minister to hand down judgment and then they proceed with whatever the outcome is? How does that work?
Exactly. There you're spot on. That is exactly what they're waiting for right now, because as we have already mentioned, that all you know, other legal avenues have been exhausted. So right now it is really for the minister to consider the petition that has been submitted before him and look at what can be done in terms of, you know, section 327 of the Criminal Procedure Act 51 of 1977. Whether there are grounds enough to pursue this matter further, whether there is a new evidence, whether the evidence that was perhaps even brought forward previously was not structured properly, was not exhausted in the proper manner, and there are perhaps grounds to re-look at the evidence in a new, rather a renewed open case. So right now, that is where the matter stands. It is within the hands of the minister, and he is obviously going to address us and tell us, are there grounds to pursue the matter further, or does the road end here? And you, of course, like I mentioned earlier, the other alternative would be a presidential pardon, but that, of course, we will wait to see.
All right, Patricia, we'll definitely get back in touch with you as soon as the minister arrives out there in Pretoria. Let's look at other